Buenas noches a todos, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estáis, amigos y amigas, jugadores? Bienvenidos al canal YouTube Sports Máximo. Soy José María y hoy me he tenido un poquitín, ¿cómo explicarlo?, desconectado de YouTube porque estaba celebrando mis 18 años de casado, de matrimonio, y la mujer dice, vamos a pasar el día juntos, vamos a cenar juntos, y hemos ido a Miami Playa y hemos estado allí cenando al lado de la playa. Y bueno, muy bien, ha estado muy bien y aquí estoy de vuelta con vosotros. Hola, Juan Felipe, buenas noches. A ver. Y bueno, y esta mañana he decidido, comprarme el Star Trek ¿cómo se llama? Resurgence. No soy muy fan de Star Trek, la verdad que si me preguntas cosas de Star Trek no tengo ni idea. Pero he visto algunas películas y algunas me han gustado, ¿no? Y como he escuchado que habla muy bien del juego, que es un juego narrativo interactivo, pues hay gente que le gusta y hay gente que no le gustará. Pero la gente que lo ha comprado, los usuarios, le han dado una nota de una media de 94%. O sea que la gente que lo ha comprado, el 94% le han dado un like a este juego, ¿no? Le han dado un OK, que le han gustado. Entonces es una puntuación muy alta. Entonces digo, ¿sabes qué? Pues tiene que ser un buen juego, porque si el 94% le ha gustado el juego, eso es un porcentaje muy, muy elevado. Digo, ¿sabes qué? Lo voy a comprar. El juego dura, no sé si dura 8 o 9 horas o 10, depende del jugador. Digo, lo podemos hacer doble sesión esta noche, por ejemplo. Hasta las 4 de la mañana, estaremos con él 4 horitas, más o menos. Y luego mañana empezaremos con él a las 10 y lo terminaremos ya a las 4 de la mañana. O sea, lo vamos a hacer en 2 partes, ¿vale? Súper bien, te felicito. Ojalá que sea mucho más. Ahora mismo está hablando. Digo, ostras, al paso que vamos, la boda de plata, porque a los 25 años son la boda de plata, ¿no? Ya llevamos 18 años casados, o sea, nos quedan nada, poquito. Nos quedan 7 años más y boda de plata. Entonces allí lo vamos a celebrar a lo alto, lo iremos a hacer un crucero de 15 o 20 días, que hay de estos largos, y bueno, nos encanta viajar. Y de hecho mañana por mañana no voy a hacer nada, ya os adelanto, mañana tarde tampoco, hemos pensado de pasar el día juntos, ¿no? Mañana. Los domingos sí, el domingo iremos a full, mañana tarde noche, pero mañana no. Mañana solamente haremos directos por la noche, pero lo que es durante la mañana y tarde, bueno, pues tenemos una finca, tenemos una casita allí en la montaña, pues vamos a pasar el día allí. Vamos a comer allí, nos bañaremos la piscina que tenemos, se nos vamos a pasar bien, ¿no? Mañana, entonces, mañana, lo siento mucho, mañana por mañana y por la tarde no haremos nada. Hasta la noche, a las 10 de la noche sí que haremos, ¿vale? Y el domingo, pues a tope. Y bueno, pues ya está. Es que lo necesitaba yo estar el día con ella, con mi mujer, pasar el día con la familia, lo necesitaba, descansar. De hecho no he jugado nada de nada. Lo único que he hecho es entrar a la consola, comprar, que por cierto vamos a hablar de este juego, de Star Trek. Muchos me vayan preguntando por qué me he comprado Star Trek Resurgence en la Xbox Series X y no en la Play 5. Seguro que lo vais a preguntar, o lo tenéis en la mente y no lo habéis preguntado todavía, pero lo vais a preguntar, ¿vale? Yo en principio quería comprarlo para la Play 5. Y eso, cuando me meto en el store de Play 5, veo que solamente está la versión Play 4. Entonces, tío, pues qué rabia que no esté la versión Play 5, que estará, a lo mejor tardaríamos una semana, 2 semanas, un mes, pero que supongo que estará. Luego me metí en la store de la Xbox y sorpresa mía, que aquí lo veréis, este juego, está la versión Xbox Series X. De hecho, veis el logo, ¿no? Porque si fuera así, si fuera la versión Xbox One, no tendríamos el logo de XS. Entonces, os voy a enseñar esto. Vale. Bueno, no me sale para comprar porque ya lo he comprado, pero como regalo sí que me saldría, ¿no? Que me ha costado 39,99 euros. Ya lo ve allí, pone XS, optimizado para Xbox Series X y S, ¿vale? Entonces, eso no lo tenemos en la Play. No lo entiendo. Porque no está la versión Play 5 y sí que está la versión Next Gen Xbox Series S o X. No lo entiendo. Me imagino que será que están trabajando en ello y seguramente en el próximo día estará también la versión Play 5, ¿vale? Entonces, pagando el mismo precio, pues prefiero jugarlo con la versión Serie X en este caso. Es lógico, ¿no? Este juego salió el día 23 de mayo, o sea, el mes pasado, ¿vale? 2023, vale. Bueno, la gente habla muy bien del juego. Vale, aquí lo veis. Espera un momento. Gráficamente, este juego está por encima de la versión Play 4, pero claro, la versión Play 4 no puede competir con la versión Next Gen Xbox Series X, ¿vale? Así que si queréis comprar la versión Play, esperad un poquito que salga la Play 5, y entonces lo veréis más o menos igual de bien que la versión la Serie X, ¿vale? Vale. Y la gente, aquí hay dos comentarios que dicen que está muy bien. Me dice, buena aventura gráfica, buen trasfondo, sin embargo mal traducido. Está mal traducido porque no jugaron esta gente antes del día del lanzamiento. O sea, perdón, el lanzamiento. Antes del lanzamiento del parche. Ha habido actualizaciones, con lo cual me imagino que si ha habido un pequeño fallo, pues se ha arreglado. Bueno, vamos allá, arrancamos. Buenas noches, José Temachine y Esteban Tejada. Bueno, vamos allá, señores, con este juego. A ver, si os dais cuenta, voy subiendo variedad, porque hay que tener variedad, porque todo el mundo tiene cada uno sus gustos. Entonces, hay gente que le gusta un tipo de juego y otro tipo de juego, ¿no? Entonces, yo procuro subir juegos que merezcan la pena, pero que haya variedad. Porque yo soy como un camaleón, yo me adapto a cualquier juego. Me cuesta más, cuesta menos, pero yo me adapto. Bueno, a ver, me pregunta si quiere subtítulos. Yo he dicho que sí, porque que yo sepa, el idioma no está en español, la voz, que yo sepa. Digo yo. Está en inglés, español y francés. Hostia, sería una sorpresa que estuviera en español, ¿no? Pero yo sé que este juego se lanzó con la voz en inglés, pero en español no. Pero claro, siempre puede ser que se haya lanzado un parche, pero no creo, no creo. Estará solamente subtitulado. Ya lo veréis. A ver. Es que lo raro que no solamente tengamos en opciones lo de música, volumen de música, el brillo, subtítulos, idioma, pero no hay nada más. Es raro. Es un menú muy simple. Vale. Vamos a comenzar. Ranura vacía. Por cierto, reventar like, señores. Y si alguien me está escuchando y le gusta este canal, joder, pues suscribirse al canal y activar la campanita para que estéis informados de todo lo que vaya subiendo, los cambios, novedades, etcétera. Pues esta tarde quería subir un directo con el Final Fantasy XVI. Pero la mujer, no, que tenemos que celebrar. Hostia, ¿verdad? Venga, vale. Lo he cancelado todo y está con la mujer.
Captain's log, stardate 57931.
Que os dije que no estaría en español la voz, solamente subtitulado.
After spending too many months piecing our ship back together,
los subtítulos tienen un tamaño que está bien, no son pequeños. Buenas noches, Ana Castillo. Yo ando full con Final Fantasy XVI, ya lo sé. Yo quería jugar esta tarde, pero tenía que celebrar mis 18 años de casado. 18 años.
Fortunately, nothing ever stays the same. It's entropy, the nature of the universe. Change is inevitable. And while entropy says order gives way to chaos, in this case, change is good. Our new first officer is en route to the Resurgence.
18 años. Pronto la boda de plata. Cuando llegue la boda de plata, haremos un viaje 20 días, un mes de crucero por el mundo. No digas eso, Ana, que sí, ya verás, encontrarás el amor de tu vida y ya verás que no tendrás ni un problema. Todo irá bien. Hay que ser... Hay que ser positivo. Hostia, pues se ve bien, ¿eh? La versión Next Gen. ¿Ves?
But these little shuttles are the worst.
Here's a tip. Don't close your eyes. You'd think that would make it easier, but it only makes it worse. Look out the window, pick a star.
¿Ves? Y la versión Play no está la versión Play 5, está la versión Play 4. Y tú comparas y se ve mejor la versión Xbox. Pero es porque estamos jugando con la versión Serie X. No la versión... Entonces espero que lancen pronto la versión Play 5. Pues claro, si no la gente que tenga Play 5 se van a esperar que salga la versión, ¿no? La nueva. Buenas noches, Beli. Señores, reventar likes es muy importante, me vais a ayudar muchísimo y me voy a animar a subir más directos. Gracias, Heidi. Hoy lo hemos estado hablando, mi mujer y yo, y yo creo que el secreto bueno, son varios secretos, ¿no? Pero el mayor secreto para que un matrimonio funcione es el respeto uno a otro y apoyar cuando uno a otro decide hacer algo. Eso es súper importante. Pues me está gustando lo que estoy viendo, porque los gráficos están geniales. Esto es un juego en... A ver, me acerco. Esto es un juego AA, por lo que tengo entendido. No es un AAA, ¿eh? Si me equivoco en algo lo que comento, por favor, corregidme, ¿eh?
Commander? I'm not usually such a nervous wreck, by the way. I actually did well at the academy.
Oh, yeah?
Maybe you've heard of the Torvalin test?
Sounds familiar.
It's a tactical simulator that makes the Kobayashi Maru look like a picnic on Pintaris 5. Anyway, I finished in the top 20. Not just in my class. I mean, all time. In the history of the academy. So, there's that.
Really? That's quite impressive.
Thank you. It was tough, but you know, I set my mind to it and it paid off.
Please place your hand here. Hold it there for a few seconds. Welcome, Commander Rydek.
Wait, You're Jara Rydek? You absolutely crushed the Torvalin test. You finished in what, like the top 3?
That would be me.
Now I'm really... It's an honor to meet you, Commander.
Es una comandante.
Sorry, I didn't realize before. I just came off the shuttle and was glad to be on solid ground.
The pleasure is mine, Ensign.
Paul Calloway.
Good to meet you.
I believe Commander Ermot is expecting you. He's in the concourse just ahead.
See you on the Resolute.
Good day, Commander.
¿Qué juego estás hablando, Sadie? José, no has reservado el nuevo juego de Telltale Games. Se ve interesante. ¿Pero de qué juego estás hablando?
If I remember my briefing, Commander Ermot is a Bolian, so I'm looking for someone with blue skin. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm just... Well, I'm not sure where my departure dock is. The Resolute's gonna leave without me.
Look here. The Resolute is leaving from this dock.
Ah, you're right. Nerves must be getting to me.
Oye, ¿y el Tito te volvió a molestar? Pero a mí no me ha molestado nunca el Tito.
Thanks so much, Commander.
A mí nunca me ha molestado el Tito. ¿Por qué dice eso, Ana, que si el Tito me molestó? ¿No me molestó?
Starbase 128 has 4 docks.
Estoy por la nave. Esta es la nave Enterprise, ¿no? Es grande, ¿eh?
I'll replicate myself a meal once I'm on board. Excuse me.
Welcome to the edge of the galaxy, Commander Rydek. I'm Commander Jan Ermot.
Vale, ya no me acordaba. Pero...
Commander? I hope there wasn't too much trouble getting here. This storm isn't making anything easy for us right now. I know conditions are less than ideal at the moment.
It was perfectly fine. No trouble at all.
I'm glad to hear it. We're grateful you were able to come fill our first officer vacancy at such short notice. From everything I've read and everything I've heard, we're lucky you were available to us. Coming from a premier starship and all. To our little research vessel.
You can spare me the flattery, Mr. Ermot. I'm here to work.
Duly noted. I'll, stick to the matter at hand.
Vale, no está en la Enterprise. Eso es la Enterprise.
She may not look like much compared to the bigger ships, but as far as science vessels go, she can more than hold her own. And she doesn't look so bad considering 6 months ago she was nearly cracked in half, venting plasma, fighting for her life.
It was an accident?
¡Qué expanse!
An accident suggests fault, but
mira, yo soy fan del Telltale Games.
it was a planned test,
Por
but
su
the
juego
warp
de
core was pushed
zombie,
beyond its
The Walking
limits.
Dead, me dejó muy
It
sentimental.
destabilized the
No,
dilithium,
han sacado
there was
juegos
a
muy buenos,
runaway
sí,
reaction,
verdad.
and the warp bubble deformed.
The
We thought we
Expanse,
could
luego lo
reach a higher
miramos.
resonant frequency, but it was more than she could handle. Cost us our first
Yo tengo
officer,
todo de Batman.
two of
¿Te
our
refieres a
crew.
uno de Batman? Sí, ya sé cuál es. Lo compré
At the
hace
end of
poco.
the day, we're all responsible for each other. That's what it means to be a crew.
I can't even begin to imagine what that must have been like for you. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you. It does weigh heavy. There are some things you can't forget.
Did you lose anyone close to you?
Too many. And to that I'll just say, you have big shoes to fill. Listen, I realize you've known Captain Solano for quite some time.
Hola Tito, buenas noches.
Bring your best. But I should
Esto es lo que dijo Ana. Yo ni me acordaba que dijo
those who felt it was a mistake, that he should have promoted from within. So you might want to tread lightly at first. Until they come to value your contributions as much as he does.
Thank you. Always good to have a sense for what you're walking into.
I just thought you ought to know.
I appreciate it.
Starfleet has assigned us a high-priority mission to the Hotari region. I'll let the captain brief you on board. I know he's eager to see you.
Will we be mission ready in time?
We have every intention. The crew has been working around the clock to get the ship ready. There's still so
Oye, por lo de Batman que tú comentas, que es interactivo, no lo tengo comprado hace tiempo y la versión una que está como negro, pero el que no he llegado a jugarlo. Yo creo que de ellos jugué el de Regreso al Futuro. Lo que pasa es que tienes que descargar subtítulos en español de otro sitio. Aunque ahora estoy en duda si es de ellos. Soporte para plasma, pues como no sea... No, esto... A ver, por aquí. No. No, tiene que ser esto, tío. Buenas noches, Paco.
And that... is that.
I thought that thing was totally fried. Nice work, Carter.
Nothing to it, Millie.
And not a moment too soon. The boss wants us down in engineering. Like, now.
Vale. Vamos a ver qué juego nos comenta este señor. ¿Cómo se llama el juego ese que me has comentado, Sadie? ¿Dónde está Sadie? A ver. T-Expanse. Es que no me suena. ¿Ya está en el store? A ver, vamos a buscarlo. La más tocha. ¿Esto qué es? Vale. Vale 45 euros, la más tocha. Ah, también de un estilo de juego así parecido, ¿no? Me lo voy a apuntar, ¿sabes? Me lo voy a apuntar, señores. ¿Está subtitulado en español? Sí. A ver. Sale 27 de julio. ...27 de julio sale este juego. A las 11 de la mañana, 27 de julio. Vale.
Come on.
Hey, Diaz, can you give us some help with the transporter?
What's the problem?
We need to test this cargo transporter. I've never been that great with the signal plotting.
I got
Carter
it.
Diaz.
No problem.
No lo acabo de entender, pero bueno, ya lo entenderé.
Hurry up.
No sweat. Whoa, whoa, hey, buddy, get off the pad!
Time's a-wasting.
Don't tell Chovak.
Not a word.
Me está gustando porque hay mucho interactivo, ¿eh? No es solamente habla. Hay muchas cosas que hay que interactuar. Está genial este juego.
So clean I can see myself. And you know what? Not half bad. A place for everything, and everything in its place. Someone gonna fix that? Engineering.
I heard the new EXO just arrived. Won't be long before we get underway. I just hope whatever Chovak called us down for, it's something good. I can never tell with him. I'd rather not end up degaussing plasma manifolds. Hanging upside down makes me queasy.
Orders are orders, Nelly. You know what they say? There are no small missions. Every expedition has a purpose.
Even if we don't know what it is yet. Looks like we got here before.
Lieutenant Commander Chovak.
We were just looking for you, Commander.
Petty Officers Ed Solar, Diaz. I was beginning to think you would be late. We are all hands on deck right now, which means if you are not at your post at the appointed time, I do not have someone to replace you. A point I have been forced to make to Petty Officer Edzelar on repeated occasions.
Apologies for the delay, Commander.
I do not want your apologies. Simply see to it that it does not happen again.
So, I don't suppose you wanted us down here to check in before we go off duty?
Equip yourselves in EV suits to work on the exterior of the hull. I need you to tune the structural integrity field for optimal performance. The subspace distortions and ionic interference we are experiencing are preventing the proper calibration. But this ship must be ready to depart shortly, despite the storm. The precise nature of these disturbances are not fully understood. But many systems have been affected by the wide band of emissive activity.
Whatever it throws at us, we'll be ready. We've got the best chief engineer in the fleet.
I am a Vulcan, Mr. Diaz. Flattery is not necessary. All that I require is that you do your job. Right now, that entails critical preparations, because long-range sensors show that these disturbances will be more severe at our destination, the Hotari system. You have your orders. Do not delay.
Yes,
Roger
Commander
that.
Chovak. All hands on deck.
What's that?
All hands on deck. That's what Chovak said. You know what that means? It means this ship isn't ready to go out and the brass know it. So they're throwing every warm body at it. And they're going to leave on schedule.
It all comes down to us, Nelly. We're the ones who will get it ready.
I know what we can do. But this isn't just any old refit or any old relaunch.
Oh, whoa.
Excuse me.
A lot of new faces coming on board.
¿Qué pasa con Final Fantasy? Juan, nada.
It's gotta be tough
Quería hacerlo esta
coming up.
tarde, pero he decidido estar con la mujer. Cogerme en
That's
fiesta.
for sure.
We've been through a whole hell of a lot as a crew. They're gonna have to prove themselves before they're really one of
Mañana
us.
seguiremos con él.
Yeah,
Y esto
you're right.
como juego, este juego como
Anyone
es
can be
novedad,
serious in a clean uniform.
pues pensaba ponerlo
Show me what you can do when
en
everything's
el canal.
falling apart.
Bueno, novedad. Salió el mes pasado. Me refiero a novedades en el
Hold on.
canal.
Now there's an old face I didn't expect to see again. Hey, Miranda.
You weren't gonna leave without me, were you?
Miranda, you're here?
We thought you were staying on the Adirondack.
Transfer came in at the last minute.
Bueno, de
so
hecho, Final Fantasy
figured I'd
XVI
slump
a lo
on this
mejor
bucket
mañana no lo
list.
pongo,
Looks like
Porque
you got
esto
it
lo haré
back
en dos,
together
en
pretty
dos
nicely.
partes.
I wasn't sure what to expect.
I'm gonna take the high road
Lo
here,
jugaremos
because you didn't say
esta noche
that, and
hasta las
we can
4 y mañana de las 10
He's
hasta
a
las
better
4 o las 5.
diplomat than I am.
Luego el domingo, sí, el domingo
He still owes me
volvemos otra vez
a
con
story,
Final Fantasy
right?
XVI.
Don't think I forgot.
Estaremos con
Yeah,
el
it's
domingo
coming
también
back to me
con
now.
Destiny
Maybe
2
Carter can rustle up that bottle and we can give you a proper welcome.
y con un par de juegos más.
As soon as we wrap up this quick little spacewalk.
Hola Sergi, buenas noches. Está guapo estos juegos, ¿sabes por qué? Porque aparte que es un juego narrativo,
So what's
también
the
es
word?
interactivo,
Are you
pero es
back
que
in security
hay mucho
rotation?
interactivo aquí.
Yep.
Porque continuamente estás dándole, moviendo las palanquitas del mando, ¿sabes? Todo, o sea, me encanta.
Good to go.
Tienes que estar atento porque con un momento te puede salir una acción que tienes que mover, tocar el mando, ¿no?
See you on the other side.
Activating magnetic souls.
Oye, y se ve bastante bien el juego, ¿eh? Ahora, tú te pones a jugar a la versión Play 4, porque no existe la versión Play 5, y notas mucho la diferencia. Yo iba a comprar la versión Play 5 y resulta que no había. De momento no hay. Está la versión Play 4. Digo, ¿sabes qué? Pues puesto ya, como tengo todas las consolas, pues me compro para la versión Xbox Series X. Sí, falta The Witcher. The Witcher 3 ya está completado. Lo único que me falta es completar las expansiones, las 2 expansiones. La primera está casi media hecha. También quiero The Witcher 3, las 2 expansiones quiero terminarlo este mes de julio. Este mes de julio la vamos a dar fuerte The Witcher.
Captain Solano should be here momentarily. You'll have to forgive me, I don't know much about Kobleods. But my understanding is you need a steady supply of Duridium to keep your cell structure stabilized, or bad things start to happen.
Pues si sabes qué opino de este juego, no sé. Igual no te gusta. Igual sí, no sé.
Feel free to make yourself at home. And help yourself to whatever you like from the replicator.
Este juego está hecho para gente que le gusta Star Trek y que le gusta el tema narrativo interactivo. Por supuesto.
He's still got a thing for trains. The warp engines.
A ver, Sergio, a mí lo que más me gusta es la ambientación, porque es que parece que estás metido en una película de Star Trek. Eso es lo que me gusta más. Aparte, que siempre estás continuamente interactuar en cualquier momento. En cualquier momento. Y eso me gusta porque este tipo de juegos, como le metan mucha narrativa y poca acción, acabas cansado y aburrido. Y este no te da la opción de que te aburras. Eso es muy importante.
Just a sip of something.
Buenas noches, José Abrante.
Decisions. Coffee. Perfect temperature. Don't know how they do it.
¿Sería esto qué es? ¿Un juego indie o un AA? ¿Sabes algo de esto? Me da igual. Mientras sea guapo el juego.
And you were burning with enough ambition to fuel 7 trips around the Necrit Expanse.
It's good to see you again, Captain.
I could not be happier to have you on the Resolute. My only regret is that we couldn't provide you with a warmer welcome. The arrival of a first officer to her new ship deserves a bit of fanfare.
That would be totally unnecessary. I don't need any pomp and circumstance.
You've been here all of 5 minutes, and already you're trying to make us more efficient. I like it. As I'm sure you've heard, we've had a rough go of it these last 6 months. The ship suffered some damage, but not nearly as much as the crew.
I assume you mean the accident.
That's right. The tragic accident, really. We were on the verge of a major scientific breakthrough. A quantum leap forward in warp core technology. 10,000 teradynes per second. The ability to travel at a sustained rate of speed longer and faster than we ever dreamed. What would have been the crowning achievement of my career? Right there. Within our grasp.
Es que parece un AA. Se ve muy bien el juego, Se ve muy bien el juego para ser un indie. Puede ser un indie, puede ser. Porque últimamente están sacando juegos indie muy guapos.
we lost some of our best people. As captain, I have to take full responsibility. It was my decision to make, and I have to live with the consequences.
You're being too hard on yourself. It wasn't your fault.
It's not a question of blame. It's about responsibility. No matter what the circumstances. In my defense, I will say, I might have avoided the whole ordeal if my senior staff had been willing to trust me. There was a lot of pushback from my former XO. And I think that cost me his confidence. I don't want you to pull any punches. Certainly not on my account. But once we decide on a course of action, I need everyone to
Muy bien, Francisco Javier. Buenas noches. Te lo acaba de terminar el Zelda. Genial.
Just won't work. And that's when things start to go sideways.
Whether I agree or disagree, I can promise that I'll be honest to a fault.
Good. That's exactly what I'm looking for.
175 horas. Madre mía.
Look, I'll be blunt. We can't afford another mistake.
Yo te voy a decir una cosa, Francisco Javier. Lo he dejado aparcado, el Zelda nuevo.
My career is hanging in the balance here.
No porque no me guste, el juego me gusta mucho. Es porque no me siento a gusto jugarlo a 15, 20, 25 FPS en mundo abierto. Y solo va a 30 FPS cuando está atento de las mazmorras, ¿no? Entonces, como no me siento a gusto, prefiero jugarlo ese juego con la nueva consola nueva de Nintendo, que no tardaremos mucho de tenerla. Y seguramente que correrá a 60 FPS. Entonces, prefiero esperar un poquito. Eso no quita que a lo mejor cualquier día volveré a jugarlo con él porque me gusta. Pero no me gustan los juegos de que vayan tan pocos FPS. ¿Qué truco hay, Francisco Javier, para que vaya mejor? Explícanos, porque si alguien te tiene este juego, ¿qué truco hay?
Hatari.
Exactly. Very nearly in the precise location where we're headed. Where I imagine the interference will be exponentially greater. But the diplomat will brief us on the details of the rendezvous.
So basically, we're being sent into the eye of a storm, more powerful than anything on record.
Well, yes. But we're taking every precaution.
Al modo
I don't want to
deporte.
get ahead of myself. I expect we'll have some rough sledding when we arrive, so I need you to prepare the crew for the worst. There's just one more thing I want to
Va
clarify.
más fluido, puede ser que sí, en modo deporte, puede ser, pero le quita mucha calidad del juego,
If after serving as my
de
first
los gráficos.
officer, you don't one day find yourself with a ship of your own.
No, es mejor esperar, es mejor jugarlo. ¿Tú te imaginas?
And that might happen
Bueno, a ti te
sometime
gusta
in the
mucho ese juego.
But it goes without saying. You have my full support.
It's been a dream of mine.
¿Tú te imaginas este Zelda jugarlo a 60 FPS? Yo te veo,
As long as you're willing to do
cuando
the
salga
work,
nueva Nintendo, te veo otra vez jugando desde el principio el Zelda.
Thank you.
Come. Let me introduce you to the crew.
No, a mí no me da pereza el Zelda. Yo algunos de Zelda yo lo he completado. Yo soy muy fan de Zelda. Pero no me da pereza jugarlo a esas caídas FPS tan brutales. No, yo que soy muy fan, son los Far Cry, que eso los completo tranquilamente, los Assassin's Creed y el Cyberpunk. Esos juegos me encantan. Y Zelda, algunos lo he completado, pero el penúltimo no. Mira, el resto de los juegos de Zelda lo he completado todos, menos el penúltimo. El penúltimo me faltaba poquito. Cada que da tirones. Es que yo lo he visto el testeo. Corre entre 15 y 25 FPS. Y a mí eso me marea.
Everyone, if I could have your attention for a moment. I'd like to introduce Commander Jara Rydek.
Buah, el Zelda en la Play 5 o la Serie X, buah, sería la hostia. Pero ya lo veréis qué bien va a ir ese juego con la nueva Nintendo Switch que lo sacarán. O este año, no, este año no creo, el año que viene. El año que viene lo van a sacar. Y ya lo veréis, gente como yo o Francisco Javier, lo volveremos a jugar desde el principio. Porque cambiará mucho.
Pleasure.
Commander Rydek, it is such an honor to meet you.
Mira, un ejemplo, el Plaguetal Requiem iba una puta mierda los FPS cuando sacó el juego, y ahora corre a 60 FPS, buenos rendimiento y estables. Y ahora juegas a 60 FPS este Plaguetal Requiem y es un gustazo que no veas.
If anything, the honor is mine.
Well, I have to admit, one of the reasons I've followed your career is because you're part Kobliad, because of what you've overcome. Starfleet stands up for people who can't defend themselves, and you were one of those people once. But since then, you've done so much to protect others who need it.
Sí, ya, Francisco Javier, ya está a 60 FPS. De hace poquitos días, lo subí al canal, lo hemos probado y es brutal.
But you definitely set a standard to strive for.
I don't know what to say. That's incredibly flattering, thank you.
I hope someday I can follow in your footsteps.
I'm sure you will.
And then, of course, you've already met Commander Ermont. Please, do everything you can to make Commander Rydek feel at home here. I'll be on the starbase. Have an urgent meeting with the starbase commander to get our authorization to get underway. If they drag their feet any longer, we won't make our rendezvous. The bridge is yours.
Siéntete en la silla del capitán. Pues debe ser esta.
Commander, Chief Engineer Chovak needs to lower the structural integrity field. He's sent a crew out to recalibrate the emitters and...
Oye, os voy a decir algo. He jugado en muchos juegos interactivos, narrativos como este. Pero que sea tan interactivo como este, no he visto ninguno, tan bueno. Ninguno.
Permission granted.
Lowering structural integrity field.
Estás continuamente haciendo cositas. Eso me encanta. Me encanta este juego. Está muy bien hecho, Este juego salió el mes pasado. ¿Y sabéis por qué no lo compré? ¿El mes pasado? Porque tenía bugs. No iba bien los FPS. Era un desastre. Y entonces esta mañana me han llamado, me han dicho, oye, que ahora lo han arreglado con parches. Ahora el juego merece la pena. Y pues bueno, pues lo compro. Porque yo quería comprarlo el día de lanzamiento. Pasa que pasé de comprarlo porque era un desastre este juego. Como el 80% de juegos que salen mal, rotos. Este igual, salió roto. Y ahora va perfecto. Los Tech Walking Dead también es muy interactivo, Sergi. Ese es un juegazo. También. Y este es muy interactivo. Con otra interfaz, aquí no va de zombies. Pero que está muy bien el juego. Este lo completamos en 2 noches. Mañana lo terminamos.
Now, what are you complaining about? We got the best seat in the house out here. You wanted to get away. I enlisted because I didn't want to wait years just to get out and see the galaxy. I wanted to go somewhere, see new worlds, look up at a sky no one's ever seen before. Just because I'm cranking a hyperspanner up in a Jeffries tube today doesn't
mean that's all. El único defecto que le encuentro a este juego, cada vez tanta narrativa, no tenga la voz doblada en español. Sería ya la hostia de bueno.
Acknowledged. You may proceed with the recalibration.
Beginning recalibration. Looks good. That wasn't so hard.
Commander Westbrook, right? Chief Science Officer.
You remembered my name and my rank. Impressive.
Bueno, Days Gone para mí es una obra maestra. Siempre ese juego entró en mi corazón. Por eso decidí completar el Days Gone y sé que algún día volveré a jugarlo.
What a very impressive list of credentials.
This is a research and discovery ship, first and foremost. Now with a former tactical officer as its new first officer. I'm curious, though. A Kobliad, or half in your case, is an odd choice for first officer, given your vulnerable condition and all. But if, as an
Sí, Sergi, buena pregunta. Ya sé cuál. Te lo voy a escribir. Te lo voy a escribir. Bueno, aparte de Starfield,
you'd leave Captain Solano without an XO. Granted,
Ay,
that would
espérate
be a
un momento,
worst case scenario, but not outside the realm of possibility.
That's very kind of you to be concerned about my well-being. But you don't need to trouble yourself on my account. I'll be fine.
Well, I wouldn't say I was concerned, just curious, that's all. Listen, can I be blunt, Commander?
I see no reason to stop now.
Commander Sutherland, your predecessor, was one of the best first officers in all of Starfleet. His record was impeccable and his reputation was without equal. I mean no disrespect, but the shoes you're stepping into are almost impossible to fill. He was loved by the crew, and he was one of my closest friends. So I can only hope that you'll live up to expectations.
Mr. Westbrook, if you have some kind of problem with me, and you just met me so it has nothing to do with me, you're gonna have to figure out how to get over it. Because I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. Do you read me?
Loud and clear. I'll stick to science. That is what this ship is for.
Very well.
Seeing as Captain Solano is on the starbase, let me give you an update on this ion storm we're flying into. It's unusual, unlike anything I've ever seen. At the moment, I can't tell you if the Resolute will shrug it off.
Tú imagínate, es un juego tipo te las ufas, ¿vale? Combinando con un T-Division. Es una combinación rara, ¿no? ¿Vale? Te las ufas con T-Division. Allí pueden sacar un juego. Si el juego está bien. Ojo, lo han aplazado. Porque el juego ya está hecho. Lo han aplazado para usar el motor gráfico Unreal Engine 5. Sale el 10 de noviembre, sí. Salen todas las consolas de nueva generación y PC. Ese juego con motor gráfico Unreal Engine 5 va a ser la hostia, ¿eh?
Evacuating main gangway and retracting.
Putting sensor visualization on screen.
With the structural integrity field shut down, we can't take a direct hit.
Time to impact. 1 minute.
Shield systems are severely impacted. We have limited protection.
I need every available solution. What are our options?
We can weaken the impact of the storm with a deflector pulse.
There's a better way.
I'm sending all auxiliary power to the deflector dish.
Send the aux power to the shields. We can't reactivate the entire shield bubble, but it's a directional threat. So we can orient all we have towards the wave. You have to believe me.
We only get one shot at this. We can't afford to get it wrong.
That's right, which is why we need to send power to our shields.
Adrosian, get those shields up.
Rerouting power to shields. Stand by. I need a heading. We've only got one shot.
Understood. On my command.
¿Qué he hecho mal? Harry necesita enfocar los escudos. Ah, no lo he enfocado, claro, no lo he enfocado.
Bedrosian, get those shields up.
Rerouting power to shields.
A ver cómo se hace
Stand
eso,
by.
enfocar.
I need a heading. We've only got one shot.
Understood. On my command.
Heading locked.
Raise shields.
This is it!
All hands, brace for impact.
What happened?
We have experienced a surge of radiation.
Oh, you don't say.
This radiation supercharged the plasma, forcing it to backflush through the system and creating a dangerous imbalance.
That can blow out every primary system on the ship.
Just tell us where you need us.
I need you to traverse the hull
Sí,
to the
Sergi,
access ports to
estaba a punto de
recalibrate
hacer la
the
reserva de ese
plasma
juego,
regulator.
pero dije, no tengo prisa y he hecho bien, porque al final lo han retrasado. Pero está genial eso de piratas, yo creo que puede ser un buen juego, ¿eh? La idea es buena.
We've reached the first access point.
Understood. Do you see the override for the level 1 failsafe circuits?
Sí, hay que usar la L, el stick izquierdo. Pasa que estaba leyendo aquí y no me daba cuenta, ¿sabes? Porque estoy jugando, pero al mismo tiempo leer el PC lo que estáis poniendo. Y no es fácil lo que estoy haciendo.
Affirmative.
Engage the override. It should allow us to stop the EPS flow to the warp engine without triggering an automatic core shutdown.
Failsafe override engaged.
Are you sure? I am registering some crosstalk in the bypass circuit.
We need to route the signals so they don't interfere with each other.
Diaz to Resolute. The failsafes are temporarily disabled. Moving on to the EPS regulator.
Heads up, Carter.
What is that?
One of the discharges coalesced.
It's coming right toward us. I'm gonna try to disrupt it with my phaser.
So we gotta climb up the pylon. Not
Sí,
that
qué
this
guapo
really
este juego,
went
¿eh?
up,
Está
but,
guapísimo.
You know.
Ay, calla, hostia. No me he fijado a la izquierda.
Yeah. Suit took most of it. Just snuck up on us.
That damaged your suit. Energy dampening is down to 60%. been hit again. We're almost to the regulator.
We're at the regulator point. Opening the access panel.
I am now halting the EPS flow to the port nacelle. We have little time before it causes an overload in the engine. You must work efficiently.
EPS manifold adjusters reset to neutral. EPS lines to the port warp engine are back in balance. Almost done. Once I cycle the manifold nozzles, Chovok can...
Joder, por si le he dado. Igual tengo que darle antes, más rápido. Vale, tenía que haber dado más rápido, la L. Dice, voy a jugar el pan mientras te veo, José. Muy bien.
We can't finish the EPS regulation in these conditions. Please advise.
We have to release the ship from that other docking clamp or the hull will be ripped apart.
There's a problem. The clamps are supposed to disengage automatically in an emergency, but it's not working.
Me gusta que si hay algo que va mal,
What are our options?
tiene sigue jugando con la carga super rápida, señores.
For an emergency release.
We've got crew out there. That'd be like setting off a bomb next to them.
Maybe there's another way.
Starbase is hailing us.
Put him through.
Resolute, the remaining mooring arm is failing. You need to disengage from the starbase now. The damage to the station will be catastrophic.
We have crew outside and are looking for the
We have
safest way
people
to...
on this station. If that mooring arm breaks, we could lose dozens of crew.
Commander, hear me out. Reverse the polarity of the hull, which theoretically will repel the docking clamps.
And repel the engineering crew right off the hull into the storm.
This is Captain Solano. Put me on screen.
Go ahead. Captain, we have a situation.
Commander, what are you doing? Blow the bolts on the docking clamp.
The captain doesn't know the whole story.
I'm giving you an order. Chara?
Captain, you brought me here because you trusted me. Can you trust me now?
You better be sure you make the right decision.
The captain made himself quite clear.
They're gonna get hammered with debris out there. Reverse the polarity.
There is protocol.
And there are lives.
Starbase, stand by. We're gonna flip hull polarity to disengage the clamps.
Yes, Commander.
Captain Jara Rydek. Be advised, we are going to reverse hull polarity to free us from the remaining docking clamp. Tether yourself and deactivate your boots on my mark.
Understood.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark!
Grab my hand! I got you.
Thank you.
Plasma imbalance is reaching critical condition. We are moments from primary system failure.
I got it.
Look out!
I got you. Petty Officer Etzelar's hurt and unconscious. I'm gonna have to tow her back to the airlock.
Mr. Diaz, the situation has changed. You are at risk of triggering a substantial electromagnetic arc if you approach the main hull the way you came.
But Commander, the way we came is the nearest airlock.
There is an auxiliary hatch near you on the far end of the pylon.
Esta parte se han dejado poner los subtítulos.
To access the interior.
Roger that. Going there now. I'm at the auxiliary hatch.
You go first.
What?
Let me save your neck this time. No time to fight me on this. Get in there!
Not on your life.
Let's not let it come down to that. We made it.
They're safe, bringing the SIF fully online.
Do it.
Buenas noches, Juan Soto. ¿Qué dices?
Nilly.
I'm good. Help me with him.
Let's get this off. Medical. Got one wounded at my location. Carter. You don't look so good. You gotta be more careful. I just got here. I'm not ready to see you two get blown to space dust just yet. Now let's get you down to sickbay.
Great.
Tengo que aplaudir, señores. Esto es un juegazo, señores. Esto es un juegazo. Madre mía, qué juego más bueno, tío. Qué juego más guapo, pero guapo.
Using hull polarity minimize damage to the Resolute. We'll have some last-minute repairs to make, but if we reapportion some of the staff, we can make our departure on time.
Yeah.
As of now, however, we are successfully moored to the station.
Good to hear. Send updates to my ready room. Commander Rydek, with me.
Déjame que voy...
Disobeyed my orders.
Voy a ir a buscar un poco de agua fresquita. Uy, me...
Respectfully, Captain, I made the right choice given the information
You
I had.
disobeyed my orders. And not just in front of the
Cuando tengo un
bridge
momento,
crew,
me iré a
but the
buscar agua
Starbase
fresquita.
staff as
Tengo
well.
sed.
That's going to get around. My name's already tarnished around the fleet. But what is it going to do to my credibility on this ship? From the top to the bottom. Bridge to lower decks.
Captain, I told you I'd be honest, so here it is. Maybe I shouldn't have disobeyed a direct order, but you were wrong. You weren't on board, and you didn't have all the information. So I made the right decision for the ship. If you're worried about your credibility, put your ego aside and trust your crew. Trust me.
You might have won some fans on the bridge with that stunt, but not everyone. Lieutenant Commander Chovak has already bent my ear.
I'm sure he doesn't take it personally. He'll get over it in time.
Mr. Chovak is more complicated than he would want to admit. I guess we all are. And, if I'm being honest, I'm not sure what I would have done in the moment either. You never really know if you weren't in those shoes. So, let's just boil it down to you did what you had to.
Thank you for understanding, sir. I'm sure no one knows the burden of command as well as you do.
I'm sure you will, someday. Despite it all, we got our final Starfleet clearance to depart. So if you'll fetch Mr. Ermot, we'll knock out the final details of any outstanding repairs, and then we'll set out for Hotari.
Yes, sir. All departments reporting full mission readiness. We've got our full complement on board.
This is my favorite moment, right now.
The start of a new mission is always full of possibility.
The Orion Syndicate could sell it as a drug.
Don't let the Admiralty hear you say that.
Captain on the bridge.
Sit. Sit, everyone. You all know, I'm not big on speeches. We're embarking on the first mission since our refit. Let's make it a good one. Disengage docking clamps.
Ahora vamos a la nave Enterprise.
Docking clamps released.
Thrusters ahead, Mr. Handar. course for the Hotari system. Prepare to go to warp 8.
Hi, Captain.
You know what? You take this one.
Me? Engage.
Simple, but effective.
Easy.
Thank you. I'm fine. Really,
You don't look so good.
I have to get to sickbay.
Go.
¿Qué le pasa? ¿Está mala?
Help me get her inside.
Well, that was quite a scare. A few minutes more and it would have been one of the shortest tenures on record for a first officer.
Is that the engineer that was out on the hull?
That storm did a real number on him, but he'll live. Just needs rest. You should worry about yourself. Your diridium levels got dangerously low and destabilized your cell structure.
This is definitely one of the more memorable first days I can think of.
My name is Dr. Aram Duval, Chief Medical Officer. To be honest, I've never met a Kobliad before. You're
rare. I know.
I was going to say special. Your people's numbers have dwindled, despite the Federation's efforts to find a more readily available alternative to the diridium you need to survive. Yet you joined Starfleet, and managed to thrive. I imagine the responsibility must be overwhelming. Maybe even a burden at times.
It does make me unique, but it's not a burden at all. I'm honored to be Kobliad, to represent my people.
As you should be. And don't worry, I won't treat you like a science experiment. I just do the science and leave the experiments to Solano.
You don't agree with his methods?
I don't agree with his definition of acceptable risks. Not when the lives of your crew are at stake. My professional opinion is that the accident took a toll. More than he's willing to admit. He's overstressed, operating in the pressure cooker of his own mind. Which is never a good headspace when the lives of your crew are at stake. What concerns me is that now he's even further away from the thing he's been chasing his entire career. Breakthrough discovery. The major innovation. Something he can put his name on. The more the time passes and the further out of reach it gets, the more risk he'll be willing to take.
I hear you. But that's my job, isn't it? To make sure that doesn't happen. And we don't lose sight of the bigger picture.
Which is exactly why I'm so glad you're here. We need you now more than ever. And I have to give you credit for what happened on the bridge. It took guts to defy a direct order.
Huh. I guess word travels fast around here.
It's a small ship. And everyone's curious about the new XO. Fortunately, your cell structure's almost completely stabilized. And I'll spare us both the lecture, but I do feel it's my responsibility to remind you, without regular infusions of diridium, you will not live. It's as simple as that.
Understood.
Then, my work here is done.
Lieutenant Bedrosian.
I came to see if you were okay. We were all pretty worried on the bridge. No one knew what was happening.
I'm feeling much better. Thank you. It's just part of who I am.
You don't have to explain to me. I understand. I'm just glad you're okay. You trusted me earlier with the shields, and I appreciated that. I want you to know that I have your
¿De
back.
qué va este juego?
Thank you.
¿Es tipo Detroit? Sí. En narrativo e interactivo. Pero con la ambientación de Star Trek. No sé si has visto la película o la
Now,
saga.
Carter, the emissions that gave you that burn are quite unusual, like everything else that goes with this storm. That's a combination of hyronolin and lectrazine to counter the radiation effects. That should help speed your healing. She's come by a couple of times to see you already. Be brief.
It's good to see you awake again. I was starting to get worried. Not that you aren't in good hands with Dr. Duvall. You did take one hell of a shot, though.
I hear you've been checking in on me. Thanks for that.
One of the benefits of working a security rotation. Lots of opportunities to walk by sickbay and stop in. Millie was looking in on you too, by the way. But since it's just us right now, I had a chance to think about this while I was away. And I thought it was important that I just come out and tell you. Instead of tiptoeing around it. Or worse, leaving it unsaid.
It's okay, Miranda. You can tell me anything.
I know that.
Then come on. Just spit it out.
I'm trying. Let me talk. What I'm trying to say is, we've been really good friends for a long time. But I got back here and I couldn't ignore it anymore. I want to see if there's more between us than just being friends.
You don't have to explain it. I feel the same way. There is something between us.
So, do you want to find out what that something is? If it's there for you, and it's there for me, why not give it a try?
We don't have to put too much pressure on it. Let's just see where this goes.
I like that. Definitely felt some pressure coming down to see you.
Sorry to interrupt, but the patient needs to rest if he wants to get back to his old self.
Of course. I'll see you again soon.
Un besito, va, un besito, dale un besito. ¿Se da la mano pero no se da un besito?
Approaching the rendezvous point outside Atari space.
Helm, bring us out of warp.
Dropping to impulse.
Bueno.
Ionic interference surging, Captain.
Shield integrity holding.
We can take it.
We are at the correct coordinates to meet the shuttle.
Commander Rydek, find us our diplomat, if you will.
Aye, Captain. Let's reduce the noise. Filter out environmental signals. I can manually tune what's left for Federation signal types. I've located the shuttle.
Opening comms.
On screen.
Shuttle to Resolute. Shuttle to Resolute. Debris field. Lost maneuvering. Losing.
I can't get it any clearer.
Hola Marta, José, tío bueno.
It's just not happening.
Hacer
Power up the tractor
qué
beam.
bola.
We'll pull them directly into the
No te
docking
entiendo,
bay.
Marta.
Diaz.
Hoy fui a mi tierra celosa de Susana.
Yes, sir.
¿De dónde eres tú, Marta? Me lo dijiste un día, me parece. ¿De qué país eres?
I'm sure.
Come on, Diaz. First thing, lock onto the shuttle and stabilize the rotation. We're pulling in debris.
I'm on it.
Ah, que bola en Cuba, es verdad, es cubana. Ay. Pues tranquila, Marta, te voy a decir algo. Aquí en el canal hay un montón de solteros sin compromiso y seguro que no le importaría viajar a tu país.
I believe so.
Commander Rydek.
Sería bonito, ¿no? Que alguien de Marta conociera a alguien de aquí del canal, un buen tío, y se conocieran y se enamoraran. A mí me gustaría.
Here we go. Maneuvering thrusters bearing 53 Mark 17. 200 meters on an intercept course.
Maneuvering.
Todo puede ser.
Got it.
Todo puede ser, señores.
Someone's working hard on the bridge.
¿Has estado aquí, Marta, en España?
We got the shuttlecraft on board.
Good job. We're on our way down to meet them.
Terra firma, so to speak.
Ambassador Spock. The captain will be right down to meet you, sir.
In that case, I will wait for him here.
Well, let me be the first to say, welcome to the Resolute, Ambassador.
Thank you, Petty Officer...
Carter? Carter Diaz. Sir.
I am pleased to meet you, Petty Officer Carter Diaz. It appears I have you to thank for my safe arrival. Your assistance arrived not a moment too soon, if I may say so.
Well, it wasn't all me. I got some help from upstairs.
A bombastic approach to clearing debris. We thought we were prepared for our arrival in Hotari space, but it is evident my craft was not sufficiently robust for such intense ionic activity.
The storm has been pretty intense.
There was an element that was most unusual. Before you came to our aid, our maneuvering thrusters and impulse engines were rendered inoperable. So we attempted a short traversal at warp speed, only to find that we could not achieve warp at all.
No, no te creas. Yo, mira, yo te digo una cosa. Yo me he casado por 2 veces, ¿eh? El primer matrimonio me duró 8 años. Me casé a los 21 años. Me casé muy jovencito.
But in practice, we find it is not.
Well, this storm is one of the strangest phenomena we've ever encountered. It's disrupted other systems. Who knows what it might do to a warp drive?
O sea, yo no tengo mucha práctica en mujeres. Porque se me han gustado una relación estable y duradera. Entonces, en mi primer matrimonio tuve 2 años de novio. Luego me casé. Mi matrimonio duró 8 años. Luego estuve 4 o 5 años que no quería saber nada de mujeres. Alguna amiguita para pasarlo bien, pero no quería nada serio. Hasta que conocí a mi mujer y ahí está. Y ya llevo 18 años, mi mujer.
Ambassador Spock, my senior staff. It's not every day that a captain gets to welcome a Starfleet legend aboard.
You flatter me, Captain Solano. But legend implies the past tense, whereas I am very much focused on our present circumstances.
I didn't mean to suggest you were stuck in the past. You're right, Ambassador. Not the most diplomatic choice of words.
Your experience comes from the past. But our present situation calls for it.
True enough.
We were hoping you could fill us in on the details. We got the basics from Starfleet. 2 formerly peaceful neighbors are now on the brink of war.
Indeed, and the tension between them grows fiercer by the hour. Lydia and Hotari. The Lydians are the more advanced species. They made first contact with the Hotari over a century ago. This is Tau, the Hotari moon. It is rich in dilithium, and for decades, the Hotari and the Lydians
yo te voy a decir una cosa, Marta. Yo tuve una novia cubana. Tuve una novia cubana, estuve con ella, pues, creo que un año. Un año. Era una mujer, se separó y vino para España y trabajaba de camarera. Muy buena mujer. La conocí un día en el restaurante comiendo con ella. O sea, fui no comiendo. Fui a comer al restaurante donde ella trabajaba.
How is it the Hotari were able to turn the tables and take the minds against superior forces, especially after decades in this arrangement?
En una estación de autobús y le dije yo, oye, ¿te conozco de algo con eso de que? Digo, así hablando con ella, digo, oye, que no quiero ligar, simplemente que te conozco de algo, no sé. Y me dice, puede ser que yo trabajo de camarera. Digo, ¿dónde? A tal sitio. Ah, pues allí he ido yo a comer. Digo, allí te habré conocido. Sí, yo me acuerdo de ti. ¿Ah, sí? Y estuvo hablando allí, mira, y a tontería, un año de novios. La cubana y yo estuvimos un año juntos.
Clearly the Hotari have been exploited in this relationship.
Maybe we can persuade them peace is a more profitable alternative for everyone.
Era una cubana pero muy blanquita, ¿sabes?
And for the Hotari, something is better than nothing. Peace is our objective after all.
That is correct.
If we could convince them, it would restore the peace. But we would need the Hotari to accept a difficult compromise.
Made all the more difficult by the emotions flaring on both sides, no doubt.
Neither the Elydians or the Hotari are members of the Federation, so we can't make them do anything.
There is an additional complicating factor I should mention.
No, pero yo con la cubana yo no quería ligarla. Simplemente que me cayó bien, quise una amistad y de ahí surgió el amor.
That certainly changes things.
Federation sources its dilithium
Yo
from a
tengo,
lot of
Marta, si te lo dije, yo tengo
Yeah,
de sangre de
and this is one of
Puerto Rico.
That means the Hotari have no reason to trust us.
I wouldn't go that far, Commander.
We are completely neutral in this matter, on neither one side nor the other. Any suggestion otherwise would compromise our position. Given the Federation's involvement in the Iridium dilithium trade, Captain Solano and I must make every effort to appear neutral in these negotiations.
What worries me is if this whole thing unravels, and we're at the mercy of the storm at less than full strength.
We can't let it come to that.
Considering what the Ion Storm has done to our ship, and the Ambassador's shuttle, we have to assume the Elydian fleet has had problems with it as well. This recent surge in the energy disturbance temporarily levels the playing field.
Pues yo te voy a decir una cosa, Marta, yo tengo sangre de Puerto Rico, mi abuela era de Puerto Rico, pero era muy negrita, ¿sabes?
They have never been observed on the orders of magnitude we have seen in recent weeks.
The field isn't level. We have the backing of the entire Federation. Either of these forces would be foolish to attack us.
That's probably what the Elydians thought too.
We are here because we are up to the task at hand.
All the more reason to learn as much about the energy anomaly while we can. We do not want to be caught at a disadvantage, should the situation escalate. So I trust we understand our circumstances.
We're operating on a strict timetable here.
También tuve una novia de Venezuela. He tenido una novia de Venezuela, de cubana,
Hi, Captain.
de Chile, de Uruguay, de Paraguay.
I want to speak to both of you privately.
Os lo juro, he tenido de estos países. Mexicana.
Ambassador Spock, I'd like to make a
Creo que
formal
no.
introduction. My first
También
officer, Commander Jara Ryder.
de Perú.
Commander, as you are aware, there are limits to what Captain Solano and I can do in our official capacity
Perú y de otro
as
país.
representatives of the
De
Federation.
Colombia.
But someone in an unofficial capacity, your first officer, for example, would not be bound by those
Y otro país
restrictions.
que se me escapa ahora.
Commander Ryder could ingratiate herself to certain parties behind the scenes, where they may be more
Creo que
candid
también
in
tuve
revealing
una
information
de...
that could lead to a resolution.
She certainly
Creo que de Honduras también.
Maybe that helps in this case. It would be unconventional, but I'm not opposed to it.
I'm honored to be included in the negotiation process.
You're not just included, you are instrumental.
Well, I hope Commander Rydek will have more luck finding out what really happened than we will through official diplomatic channels.
The fate of the negotiations, the interests of the Federation, and the prospect for peace may very well...
Hoy he ido con la mujer a cenar en un restaurante. Me he encontrado una chica camarera que es de Salvador. Y muy simpática, muy respetuosa, muy educada. Una pasada. Una chica jovencita de Salvador. Trabajaba ahí de camarera. En un restaurante
Mr. Diaz,
cerca,
I understand
un
you have
restaurante de
already
Miami
discussed
Playa,
the warp drive failure with
cerca
Ambassador
de la
Spock.
playa.
I have.
It is imperative that the Ambassador's
Estaba
shuttle
lleno.
be flight ready. I need you both to ascertain the root cause of the system failures he encountered.
I'm surprised, Commander. I thought you would have wanted to work on Ambassador Spock's shuttle yourself.
I respect the Ambassador and his many accomplishments, but I do not derive any satisfaction from interacting with his shuttle as if it were somehow transubstantiated through its association with him. Especially when I have the entirety of this starship to concern myself with. I am not the chief engineer of this shuttlecraft.
The Ambassador asked me to take a look, and I'm ready to crack this thing open.
Good. You could learn from Mr. Diaz's focus.
I'll take notes.
Then I will leave you to it. Make note of any
Y es que
abnormalities in
decir
your report.
viva España no
Carry
entra
on.
mucho en mi filosofía.
It seems like he's warming up to us.
Cosa entenderá.
Yeah.
Even Chovok has to look at that face and know you've earned some real respect. And I have to admit that I owe you one. You were right to make me go first. I don't know what I was thinking. You did the smart thing.
You've pulled me out of trouble how many times? Call it even.
Okay. At the very least, maybe I can track down that bottle of Saurian brandy you're still on the hook for. But first, we have work to do.
Ready to go?
All set. Let's run the diagnostic.
Un momento, por favor. Dejadme que voy a buscar algo fresquita, que tengo una sed. Un segundo, ahora vuelvo. Ya estoy con vosotros. Vamos allá.
So, I know about your talk with Miranda.
Gracias, Sergi.
You do?
She sent me a Priority 1 dispatch right after your conversation. I'm happy for you. Both of you.
Thanks.
But I'm only going to tell you this once. Don't screw this up. Because I would be very unhappy if you tried this out and then, I don't know, 6 weeks or 6
¿qué
days
pasa aquí?
later I have to start
Los
splitting
subtítulos
holidays between the two of you.
tenía que estar en español.
All because things went south and you're
Guau,
not
tío,
on
menuda
speaking
cagada,
terms.
tío. ¿Y ahora qué hago yo?
That just isn't gonna work for me. And I know you'll
No sé qué
respect that.
escoger. No entiendo, tío, lo que pone. ¿Qué mierda, tío? ¿Qué es esta, tío?
You really don't believe in me, huh?
It's not you. Or her. Just running the
Tío,
numbers and
los subtítulos.
don't
¿Qué
work
pasa
out
los
more often
subtítulos?
than they
¿Qué
do.
pasa, tío?
I
¿Cómo
like
puede
my
ser
friends
que
and I
no
like
pongan
our
los subtítulos en
group.
español?
I don't want to lose that. Is that thing done yet?
Yeah.
Vale, ya está arreglado. Pero ha habido un momento que no
Relays
iban
along
los
the
subtítulos en
primary EPS are
español.
blown. The backup relays are all intact.
An EPS overload from the warp drive could cause
Bueno,
that. But how
bugs
did the
no hay.
shuttle end up
No
dead
hay
in
ni
the
caída de
water?
FPS. Eso lo han arreglado con los parches. Pero esa
Maybe
parte
the ship's data
lo tendrían que
recording
arreglar.
something.
Yo creo que sí, Sergi, se cansaron los traductores,
Here.
They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point. No faults, just those warnings. What are they?
Subspace variance out of tolerance. What does that mean?
It means the main navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code.
There was a complete warp cascade failure.
Wow. They're lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
Makes me think the computer panicked on the warp field equation. The warp field became inverted suddenly.
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look. Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
If it was caused by a system failure.
None of this caused the relays to blow. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
They're all the same. Subspace variance out of tolerance, or warp inversions. Finally, there's a complete warp cascade failure.
Then it's one of two things. Either a warp coil is cracked, or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
Divide and conquer. You want to check the warp coils or the navigation array? I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
I'll check the nacelles for a cracked coil.
No sé qué tengo que hacer aquí, tío. ¿Se ha bloqueado? No lo entiendo. Creo que se ha bloqueado, ¿eh? Porque no puedo enfundar, no puedo escanear. Creo que aquí se ha bugueado, tío. Se ha bugueado, tío, se ha bugueado. Cago en una puta, se ha bugueado. Hostia, macho. Se ha bugueado. Los bugs. En todos los juegos tienen bugs, más o menos.
I understand you have already discussed the
Son
warp
muy
drive
natural.
failure with Ambassador Spock.
I have.
It is imperative that the Ambassador's shuttle be flight ready. I need you both to ascertain the root cause of the system failures he encountered.
I'm surprised, Commander. I thought you would have wanted to work on Ambassador Spock's shuttle yourself.
I respect the Ambassador and his many accomplishments, but I do not derive any satisfaction from interacting with his shuttle as if it were somehow transubstantiated through its association with him. Especially when I have the entirety of this starship to concern myself with. I am not the chief engineer of this shuttlecraft.
Commander Chovak, is there anything you do enjoy?
I take pleasure in the satisfaction of a job well done. I suggest you try it sometime. Make note of any abnormalities in your report. Carry on.
Was that a joke?
No, couldn't have been. It seems like he's warming up to us.
Yeah.
Even Chovak has to look at that face and know you've earned some real respect. And I have to admit that I owe you one. You were right to make me go first. I don't know what I was thinking.
You've pulled me out of trouble how many times? Call it even.
Okay. At the very least, maybe I can track down that bottle of Saurian brandy you're still on the hook for. But first, we have work to do.
Ready to go?
All set. Let's run the diagnostic. So, I know about your talk with Miranda.
You do?
She sent me a Priority 1 dispatch right after your conversation. I'm happy for you. Both of you.
Thanks.
But I'm only going to tell you this once. Don't screw this up. Because I would be very unhappy if you tried this out and then, I don't know, 6 weeks or 6 days later, I have to start splitting holidays between the two of you. All because things went south and you're not on speaking terms. That just isn't gonna work for me.
That's not gonna happen, okay? And why are you even going there? We haven't even gone on a date yet.
I just want you to know where I stand. I like my friends and I like our group. I don't want to lose that. Is that thing done yet?
Yeah, it's wrapping up. Let's see. The relays along the primary EPS are blown. The backup relays are all intact.
An EPS overload from the warp drive could cause that. But how did the shuttle end up dead in the water?
Huh. Well, maybe the ship's data recorder can tell us something. Here.
They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point. No faults, just those warnings. What are they?
The warp field became inverted suddenly.
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look.
There was a complete warp cascade failure.
Wow. They're lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
Makes me think the computer panicked on the warp field equation. Subspace variance out of tolerance.
Ahora vengo.
What does that mean?
It means the main navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code. Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
If it was caused by a system failure.
None of this caused the relays to blow. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
They're all the same. Subspace variance out of tolerance, or warp inversions. Finally, there's a complete warp cascade failure.
Then it's one of two things. Either a warp coil is cracked, or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
Divide and conquer. You want to check the warp coils or the navigation array? I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
I'll check the navigation array.
No. ¿Qué he hecho, tío? ¿Qué he tocado, tío? ¿Qué he tocado? ¿Pero qué he tocado si yo...? ¿Pero yo no quería salir? No lo entiendo, tío. No lo entiendo. No lo entiendo. Es que yo... ¿Por qué ha salido al menú? No lo entiendo. ¿Algo he dicho mal yo? No lo acabo de entender. Gente, no lo acabo de entender. Otra vez lo mismo.
Mr. Diaz, I understand you have already discussed the warp drive failure with Ambassador Spock.
Me ha sacado el juego, tío. Me ha sacado el
That the
juego.
Ambassador's shuttle be flight ready. I need you both to ascertain the root cause of the system failures he
Una cosa muy rara.
I'm surprised, Commander. I thought you would have wanted to work on Ambassador Spock's shuttle yourself.
Buenas noches, Flip
I
Gaming.
respect the Ambassador and his many
Buenas noches, José.
accomplishments.
María,
But I do
tú
not
ya
derive
jugaste
any
de
satisfaction
Trebecon,
from
¿no?
interacting with his shuttle as if it were somehow
Lo hemos completado hace
transubstantiated
poquito
through its
en el canal.
association with him. Especially when I have the entirety of this starship to concern myself with. I am not the chief engineer of this shuttlecraft.
When you look at it logically, yes, it is just a shuttle. No different than any of the others.
There is plenty that is different about it, and that is what you are to investigate. But please limit your findings to observable scientific phenomena.
We'll try to restrain ourselves.
Then I will leave you to it. Make note of any abnormalities in your report. Carry on.
It seems like he's warming up to us.
Yeah.
Even Chovok has to look at that face and know you've earned some real respect. And I have to admit,
Sí me sacó, pero
that I
yo no
owe
hice nada, ¿no?
you were right to make me go first. I don't know what I was thinking.
You've pulled me out of trouble how many times?
¿Tú imaginas que aquí hay un bug que no me deja
Okay.
avanzar?
At the
Me
very
da algo,
least,
tío.
maybe I can track down
Me
that
da algo,
bottle
eh.
of Sorry and Brandy you're still on the hook for.
Me estoy poniendo nervioso, tío.
But first, we have work to do.
Yo me he comprado algún juego que no me ha dejado seguir y he tenido que
All
dejarlo,
set. Let's run the diagnostic.
A ver, tío, otra vez lo mismo. Vamos a fijarnos bien. A ver qué pasa ahora.
So, I know about your talk with Miranda.
Cuando sacaron este juego,
She sent me a priority
iba,
one dispatch
iba que
right
daba
after your
pena. Por
conversation.
eso no lo compré el mes pasado.
I'm happy for you,
Que salió el mes pasado.
both of you.
Digo, voy a esperarme que lancen parches.
But
Para
I'm
comprarlo.
only going to tell you this once.
Pero mira,
Don't screw
veo que aún le
this
faltan algún
up,
parche
because
más
I
para
would be
dejarlo fino.
very unhappy if you tried this out and then, I don't know, 6 weeks or 6 days later, I have to start splitting holidays between the two of you. All because
No,
things
diría
went south
que
and you're
no lo
not on
sé.
speaking terms.
Are you upset?
Not on your life, Diaz. But you need to be careful.
Esta parte que sale en inglés,
I like my friends and I like our group.
igual se cansaron los traductores.
Is that thing done yet?
Yeah, it's wrapping up. Let's see.
Y eso no lo han arreglado con un
Primary
parche.
EPS are blown.
O sea, ¿qué me hace pensar?
Relays are all intact.
Que esta gente hace los juegos no los prueban. Porque si los probaran, lanzaría un parche, eso es un mini parche y lo arreglan eso.
Well, maybe the ship's data recorder can tell us
No,
something.
no, hay cosas que muy raras.
Here.
They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point. No faults, just those warnings. What are they?
There was a complete warp cascade failure.
Wow. They're lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
Makes me think the computer panicked on the warp field equation. Subspace variance out of tolerance. What does that mean?
It means the main navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code.
The warp field became inverted
No sé.
suddenly.
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look. Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
If it was caused by a system failure.
None of this caused the relays to blow. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
They're all the same. Subspace variance out of tolerance, or warp inversions. Finally, there's a complete warp cascade failure.
Then it's one of two things. Either a warp coil is cracked or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
Divide and conquer. You want to check the warp coils or the navigation array? I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
I'll check the navigation array.
A ver si lo entiendo bien.
Navigation array checks out, so it must be a coil.
Except it's not. Checked and double-checked.
Well, the readings don't lie.
Here comes the security detail for the way team.
Hey.
I'm not here.
We're escorting the negotiating team to the surface as soon as they come down from the bridge. I don't want to interrupt some important work. I was just hoping to see you before I go. The captain and the others will be here any minute now. Should be an interesting ride down to the surface.
Come on, I'm never too busy to make time for you.
That's not true.
No. But I am glad you came by.
Now that's more accurate.
I gotta be precise with you, huh?
Hey, Maris. Aren't these those button pushers you're always hanging out with?
And you're the phaser jockeys we always beat in Parisi squares, right?
All aboard for Hotari.
That another one of the captain's railroad things?
Gotta be. I just usually zone out by the time he gets to the whole steam engines were the warp drives of their day part. Catch y'all later.
You don't want to miss your train.
I do have to go. Not gonna lie, I'd rather not leave right now. More important things on my mind.
¿Besarla? Oh, qué bonito el amor.
That was nice.
Yeah, it was.
Save some of that for when I get back.
You've got a deal.
Qué bonito el amor, ¿no?
Etzelar de Diaz. If you could float back down
Hoy le
to
cogió a mi
reality,
mujer
we
esta
still
noche,
have a ways to go.
le ha dado un abrazo, le ha dado un simple abrazo
All right, where were we?
y le da un besito.
So the warp coils in the navigation array are
la cara
fine,
feliz,
but the
mi
nav
mujer,
computer doesn't seem to think so.
I'm
me ha
out of
dejado
ideas
mi
for
feliz
field
también.
stripping the shuttle from bow to stern.
You wanna take this out of the shuttle and throw it on the bench?
Oh, real hands-on maintenance. I like it. Okay, the nav computer is patched into the ship.
The ship's computer can double-check our work. If the shuttle's nav computer is putting out false data, we'll know it.
Let's run through the shuttle's logs again.
Running now. warp field inversion and a cascade failure. However, the Resolute computer doesn't show the same subspace variance.
We're in the same conditions that the shuttle was in when it failed. Why wouldn't the ship's computer get a matching result?
What if the subspace variance was a momentary occurrence?
That's a possibility, and it would explain why the simulation under our current sensor readings failed to reproduce the issue.
But a subspace anomaly strong enough to cause a warp field collapse would leave graviton ripples for days.
Let's run with the momentary subspace variance theory for now. Roll forward to the shuttle's attempt to re-engage the warp drive. We need the conditions of space around the shuttle at the moment of warp failure.
Resuming simulation.
Error in warp field calculation. Cochrane formula variables are out of range.
That right there. Take the shuttle sensor data from that moment.
Computer, why did the warp field calculation fail?
Warp field pressure returned non-orthogonal. Results are undefined.
That doesn't help.
Wait, what if we use a different ship?
Put the Resolute into the simulation instead of the shuttle.
Yeah, it should warp just fine. Unless... Computer, run the simulation with the Resolute.
Resolute simulated.
Computer, give me manual control on the warp power.
Static field intensity, warp 1.1. 1.2. 3. Warp pressure is destabilizing. Error in warp field calculation. The warp drive has experienced a system-wide cascade failure. Warp field collapsed. Subspace variance is out of tolerance. Cochrane formula results are undefined.
Bingo.
What-o?
The same moment when the shuttle failed to warp, so did the ship. Whatever happened to the shuttle just happened to us. The Resolute will not sustain warp.
We can't leave Hotari space.
Ambassador Spock, Captain Solano, welcome to Hotari. We are honored you've come. My name is Tylos Altaris, Minister of Diplomatic Affairs.
The honor is ours. And this is Commander Jara Rydick, first officer aboard the USS Resolute. You'll find she has a keen mind and unique insight into the dynamics between the Hotari and the Lydians.
We are honored to be here as representatives of the Federation.
I'm so glad.
These must be the representatives of the mighty Federation, the reigning authority in the galaxy. Or so we've been led to believe. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen. But, either way, we're grateful you've made the time to come to our little corner of the universe.
And you are?
This is Galvin, and this is Citron, the heroes of the revolt in the mines.
Joder, qué feos son, ¿no?
Let's hope this is the last time we ever have to come here.
If you'll excuse me.
I think we're about to begin.
Did you hear the arrogance from that guy? I don't know what we're walking into here. That guy was something.
Something about his tone tells me this won't be easy.
That was my sense as well.
I doubt he speaks for all of Hotari. So I would urge patience until we speak with their queen.
Diferente.
Ambassador Spock, welcome to Holtari Prime.
The honor is mine, Your Majesty.
That the Federation would send one of their most respected representatives is not only an honor to the Holtari people and their queen, but a recognition of our stature and importance.
Let's get on with it, shall we? With all due respect to the Federation and their ambassador, they have no authority here. We are not members of their alliance. We are not subject to their rule, nor yours. We demand the immediate return of all mining operations to Elydian control, as it has been for centuries and will be for centuries more. That has always been our understanding.
That understanding has changed.
Then you invite war!
And if you cannot remain silent, you will be silenced. But his point is well taken. What is the Federation's interest in this matter? Perhaps you would have us trade one oppressor for another?
The Federation remains neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution of this conflict. We are here at your request, Your Majesty.
For now.
Saying this wouldn't be easy was an understatement.
Señores, me están dando sueño.
I thought they wanted us here.
Was there something you wanted to say, Captain?
Oh, no. My apologies.
And what about the Kobliad?
She's not part
She can speak for herself, can't she? Then let her. Now then, what is your name?
Commander Jara Rydek, Your Majesty.
Being a Kobliad, you would know better than anyone. Your people suffered brutal treatment at the hands of the Cardassians. Their injustice towards the Kobliad is as unimaginable as it is unforgivable. Not unlike how we have been treated by the Elydians.
As much as they'd have you believe they are the victims here, remember it was the Hotari who attacked us. Hundreds of innocent Elydians were slaughtered without mercy in those mines.
The blood is on their hands, not ours!
Quiet! If after all the Kobliad suffered, you finally had the chance to right that wrong, to get out from under their control, would you take it? Or would you negotiate a peace?
Corregiría lo que está mal.
If the opportunity presented itself, and I wish that it had, more than you can know, then I would right the wrong without hesitation. For the sake of the Kobliad, we suffered enough.
Of course you would. It would be foolish to do otherwise. The Federation is the most powerful, most advanced alliance in the galaxy. It's widely known we have an abundance of dilithium in our mines. And it's in your interest to secure a steady supply.
Your Majesty, if I may.
Ambassador Spock would have us believe you're here as a neutral party in the interest of peace. So why are you really here? I want the truth, not your Federation rhetoric.
As Ambassador Spock has said, we've come seeking a peaceful resolution to this conflict, and have no interest in your dilithium.
I'm not nearly as naive as you must think. The Federation has done business with the Elydians for decades, which makes me question your motives.
What they haven't said, but cannot deny, is a simple truth. The dilithium trade would not and will no longer exist without Elydian involvement. We created it for the benefit of everyone.
Especially the Hotari. We've given them warp technology. We've let them share in the profits. We've made their lives infinitely better than before dilithium was discovered. All of that
Me parece, señor, que
goes
cuando
away
termine la
if the
conversación vamos a jugar la
Federation
partida.
turns a blind
Me está
eye
entrando
to
sueño y me
their
cuesta
treachery.
leer los
That
subtítulos.
is enough of your lies. The Hotari are quite capable of running the mines. We've done so for centuries. So tell me, who deserves control of the dilithium trade and the mines on Tau? Who should the Federation recognize? The Hotari or the Alidians? It can only be one or the other, not both.
If I have to choose only one, then it would have to be the Hotari.
Well said. How could the just and wise Federation make any other choice?
This is an outrage. The Federation has lost all credibility.
The mines are ours. Lydia will not be deterred. We will take back our mines by any means necessary.
Then you will see more blood spilled.
I am more than willing to address your concerns, Your Majesty. Yours as well, Representative. But I suggest we could have a more productive conversation with a smaller group. Perhaps only the most essential representatives.
I suppose there is some sense to that.
¿Sabes lo que pasa cuando hay un diálogo, muchos diálogos que está subtitulado y estás cansado? Que estoy cansado. Porque hoy, aunque he descansado, no he hecho directo durante la mañana tarde. Pues me entra sueño y me cuesta leerlos. Si tuviera doblado español la voz, seguiría jugando, pero no voy a jugar hoy más. Me voy a la cama, señores, que estoy reventado. Hoy ha hecho en mi... donde yo vivo 42 grados. 42 grados al mediodía. Qué calor, Dios mío.
You make nice with the locals and see if you can get some answers. We need to find out why the Hotari are so willing to risk war. What happened in those mines?
Vamos a dejarlo. ¿Está cada parte guardada? A ver. Sí. Más o menos. Vamos a dejarlo, señores. Mañana seguimos. Mañana a las 10 de la noche. Estaré más tranquilo, descansaré por la tarde y podremos darle fuerte mañana. Si lo tenemos que completar en 3 noches, lo completamos en 3 noches, da igual, no pasa nada. Pero se completa esto juego. Ya hemos hecho hoy 2 horas y pico, o sea que nos quedan 6 horas. Sí, mañana noche. Empezaremos a las 10 y hasta las 4. Estaré descansado. Pero es que hoy estoy cansado, estoy reventado, tío. Entre la calor, que no paro de hacer cosas hoy, estoy muy cansado. Bueno, pues nada. Yo desde aquí les felicito, han hecho un buen juego, muy buen juego, ¿vale? Hemos visto un bug, pero nada más, que esto no es muy normal en los juegos que son nuevos. Pero bueno, que está bien el juego, está guapo. Yo te tengo que dar un aplauso, es un juegazo, tío, es un juegazo. Dentro de su género, está entre los mejores. Bueno, nos vemos, hasta mañana. Sí, estoy agotado, ¿verdad? Que me duermo. Y no quiero quedarme dormido en el directo, que sería la hostia. Buenas noches, Juan Soto, Sergi y amigos míos. Hasta luego, hasta mañana.